It is time for FYI, and of course, once a month we catch up with Clinton Mayor Scott Maddasion. Scott, great to see you. First of all, congratulations, a new addition to the family. How's Mom and the new one doing?
They're doing awesome. So he's about 16 days old now, which he came 3 weeks early. So we were excited for him to show up, but we're unprepared, I guess. You'd think after one you'd be prepared for the second, but kind of came out of nowhere. My wife called me at like 10 a.m. like, hey, guess what? I'm getting admitted. Oh, perfect. So everything went really well. They're both doing great. He's growing quickly. He's already well past his birth weight, which is what they look for in that first week or two. So things are going good. Our firstborn, Bennett, who's 2, is finally starting to warm up to the new one now. It took him a little bit. It was kind of like, hey, when's this thing leaving? But now he's starting to really, take to that big brother role, which is pretty cool to see.
Well, that is good. And you were telling me the new one's got a cousin not much older than him.
Yep. We have a cousin that's about 5 months older. And then my firstborn has a cousin that's 6 days older than him. So my brothers and our kids are pretty clustered together, which I think is a good thing. As they're growing up, they'll always have that family. And I kind of grew up in the same environment. My mom and dad both had 6 siblings apiece, so there was a lot of cousins and things that were similar in age to me. So,
well, that is great.
Yeah.
So things going along pretty well with the city. We got some money coming our way, I understand.
Yeah. So it's really cool. A lot of the COVID dollars that was pushed to the state from the federal government, the state has kind of made us compete for the money in a way. They gave some money to the counties and the cities, but then they kept some for different programs. And we've been lucky enough to be successful in several programs. And just on Tuesday night, we had the final, we had some bidding put out, and we had some final contracts signed and things for 3 specific programs. And I just want to highlight those because anytime we can bring, tax dollars back to Clinton, I think it's important. And these are all no matches. So this is just money that came in with no match to it. And they have stipulations that got to be used for certain things, but no match. And the first one's the Erickson Center. That building's been there for quite some time. The roof needs repaired, so this money will go towards the roof. New HVAC, which will help with the temperature controls in the gyms when we're doing all those events in there, and then a couple other small little minor things around the building. Obviously, Josh did the survey a year or so ago now about the new sports complex, and we're really trying to position ourselves financially to do something like that. But it takes some planning and some time because, it's a $26 million project. You can't just pull that out of the hat and and run with it, So we're really focused on that. But in the meantime, this will help improve that facility, which is highly utilized. The YWCA got a huge grant of $500,000 from the COVID money, and that's going to go specifically to the YWCA. They're doing a ton of improvements, and you can get on the website and look at the packet. But they're doing the childcare, the locker rooms, the gym, the office areas. They have a whole huge thing, and they're going to put a lot of their own money into that as well. So the project's going to be much larger than the grant that they got. Which is going to be extremely exciting because we really don't have a lot of facilities like that in town. With the YMCA going away several years ago, the YWCA kind of picked up the slack from all that stuff, which is good. And I'm down there quite a bit in the morning, so it'd be nice to see some upgrades to that facility. And the last one where the money's coming in, which I think is really cool, is the micro enterprise loans. We have 5 local businesses that are receiving $50,000 to help upgrade their equipment and help cover some of the costs or some of the changes associated with COVID. Because when COVID happened, I think business changed quite a bit. They realized they don't necessarily have to have everybody come in. They can do delivery. They can do this. They can do pickup. And I think that changed a lot of people's businesses and their strategies. So this money is really going to help them kind of continue to adapt to those strategies and then get a little bit of upgrade and a boost. So hopefully they can increase their capacity or their business or whatever their goal is as far as using the funds.
Okay, Scott Maddasion, let's kind of review those. Again, the Erickson Community Center, as you pointed out, it has been here for some time now, but it is an area that is great and should be utilized.
Yeah, I absolutely. We've put a lot of money in just in the 2.5 years that I've been here doing the mayor job. We've put a lot of money into the Erickson Center for very good reason. If you go there on the weekends in the summertime or the wintertime, you've got tournaments on the softball fields. You've got tournaments in the gym, basketball, volleyball. They're doing a lot of camps and things like that now to try to get the youth, learn those basic skills from different types of sports. You can add the Erickson Center in there, or the soccer complex too. I mean, those are all Erickson community. It's not the building itself, but it's Park and Rec. Right. And I think this money and applying for this funds just kind of helps add to that. And it's nice to not have to pay for the roof ourselves. We're getting that COVID dollars are coming here from the state. I understand it's all tax dollars. We all pay that money. But anytime you can get some money of those tax dollars to come back to Clinton, it's a good thing.
And quite a project for the YWCA. Now, what about, how do they utilize the space? They still have the original YWCA building there on site.
Yeah, I was going to ask this morning and I forgot because I didn't really run into anybody, but I'm interested to see how they're going to do the process as they're doing those upgrades and things. And they do utilize all the facility. I know the older part of it, I think, is used more as office space, and they have meeting rooms and things like that. And I think they do some of their other programs, the daycare, the rapid rehousing, the things like that are used in that older space. The newer side is more of the exercise type facility, and they do have some offices there too. So really exciting to see them get those upgrades because they do so many things for the community. It's not just a gym to go to or a pool to swim in. Right. They have a lot of things that they offer there, and it's always nice to see those kind of get a little bit of help so they can, because they're a nonprofit just like many other places. So.
And the micro enterprise loans, is it primarily for downtown businesses or throughout the town?
It's throughout the town. Generally, it's in the downtown area and the Lions District. Those are mainly the businesses that applied for that way back when we started this process over a year ago, I think, or at least last summer. So it's kind of spread out a little bit. We don't want to concentrate in one area, but there were some specific qualifications and things that they had to follow to get into the program.
It's always so interesting when you're able to get money from the federal government or from the state, trying to get that money and then allocate that money.
Yeah. So this in a lot of these instances here, the city works as kind of the conduit of the money. So the state says, we'll use the YWCA. Hey, you're getting this grant. The YWCA will do the work, to kind of submit for reimbursement, so to speak, through the city. So the city just kind of makes sure that the money's used within the grant program, because we utilize our Intergovernmental Association out of Dubuque, ECIA. We utilize them to kind of apply and get these grants because that's their expertise. And then between them and us, we're the facilitator of making sure that the money's used in the proper manner and it's not, going to salaries or something like that. Not that any of our businesses would do that, but just as an example, that's not a proper use of the COVID funds. It's for infrastructure or whatever it is.
That's interesting. Now, how often do you meet with these people up in Dubuque, or how's that work?
That's a constant dialogue between the city staff and them. So Matt, the city administrator, is probably daily talking to different people, and then some staff members, like specifically, at the Erickson Center, Josh Eggers, the Park and Rec director, would have had some input with ECIA because he's working that grant process with them. So it's a daily dialogue, and then myself, I'm on the board for the ECIA, and then also serving on the executive board. So every other month I have executive board meeting stuff that I deal with ECIA. So not as frequent as the staff, but still involved.
I would think it's important for you to be on that board, right?
Yeah, it is very good to be on the board because there's a lot more things going on around our region than just in Clinton, and some of those things impact how things react in Clinton as well, as far as grants and things like that. And then it's also nice to meet with the other mayors, city administrators, the folks that are on these boards, because you can get different ideas of what grants to apply for or how to do that, or hey, maybe Comanche did this would really fit for you in Clinton, we should try this route, or vice versa. So it is very nice. And then being on the executive board, you get a little bit more of the in-depth look of how that organization works, and really see the inner workings, which is kind of cool as well.
Visiting with Scott Maddasion, more on FYI, but let's take a break for the weather, brought to you by Midas.
We're back to reality today with cooler temperatures and windy conditions. Winds could gust up to 30 miles an hour with partly cloudy skies. Highs in the mid-50s. Back to 30s tonight, low 30s with a few clouds, and low 60s for Friday with a little bit of sun. With your Storm Track 8 forecast, I'm meteorologist Andrew Stutzky.
Right now we do have fair skies, partly cloudy, 42 degrees. Our winds starting to pick up out of the west. Our update brought to you by Midas. Trust the Midas touch. Trust the Clinton Midas on Lincoln Way. With a change of season, the Clinton Midas will have you ready for the road ahead. See them for top quality interstate batteries. Make sure of good visibility with new windshield wipers, and grip the road better with the Midas selection of tires, no matter what you drive. And of course, the Clinton Midas provides quality maintenance for your vehicle. The Clinton Midas, 1432 Lincoln Way, 242-2511. Trust the Midas touch. Talking with Scott Maddasion on FYI today, of course, the mayor of Clinton. Corps of Engineer, we got a couple of studies that are going to be coming up, is that right?
Yeah, so we have two different things going on. One, we worked with Senator Knoyer and the Lyons District folks. We got $650,000 from the state of Iowa for a flood mitigation study, and that's basically going to be a study on the north end of the levee to determine whether or not we could reinforce it and maybe extend River Drive all the way up to the north end. So just kind of a preliminary, see what we can do, and there's no match with that. We just got the 650, which will get us about the third of the way through the process. But we'll have a good grasp on what we can or cannot do after that first third. So that's a big one that's going on. And the other one is a program called Planning Assistance to States. So this is a 50-50 program with the Corps of Engineers. The total is $212,000, so the city's going to do 106 of that, which we allocated funds almost 16 months ago when we started this process. And the reasoning is this. We have a lot of boat traffic, obviously, with our marina, the 9th Avenue ramp, fishermen coming in and out and things like that. We're having a lot of issues with siltation, sedimentation sitting around the gas dock area, and especially in those 50-foot slips at the bottom of our marina there. And then even on the west side of Sea Dock, which is right out in front of Candlelight, that gets pretty low there as well. So we're trying to figure out what the issue is. I mean, we kind of know, but we need an official opinion from the Corps. So we're dredging, and it's really not getting us anywhere. And with the water low like it is and has been all year, it doesn't help. But we need to have a better plan and a better focus on how we dredge and how we do that, because we do not want to lose access in that area. I mean, that's a huge. I mean, we just had the Bass Nation fishing tournament here in last June. I mean, if we can't get in and out because it's 6 inches deep or a foot deep, we're not going to be able to do things like that. And then our own residents wouldn't be able to get in and out either.
And I know, visiting with Leslie from Grow Clinton, that the Bass Nation people were extremely pleased with the fishing that took place on the Mississippi.
Yeah, they were pumped. I talked to the guys that were down there, and it was really competitive because, you really got to know what you're doing down here to fish. I have no clue what I'm doing, so I probably wouldn't catch anything. But, yeah, they really enjoyed it. They loved our facility, having the restaurant and then that big parking lot right by the water. Mm-hmm. They were able to do their ceremony there. So we want to continue to have things like that, and we also want to continue to let our local people in and out of the water. So we did a lot of work up north to open up the tubing up there to try to get the water to flow through. Well, now the water's so low it doesn't even reach the tube, which is an issue because we can't get flow down through the Joyce's Slough there. So we're doing this study with the Corps to figure out, they call it a hydrology study, to figure out what the problem is, because right now we're spending, X amount of dollars on dredging, and it's really getting us nowhere because we don't know the root of the problem and how we can attack it. And that's what this is going to do. And I think it's really important for us because the river is one of our biggest assets, right? Not everybody has that. So we want to maintain our ability to get in and out and access that asset. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's probably like a 12-month study. So by next year, we'll kind of know where we need to be, and then we can plan with capital improvements and things like that, like what we're going to do moving forward. They did a similar thing with Sunset Marina on Rock Island. They had the same problem, almost identical, kind of. So we're hoping that we get a good result from this.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Halloween's just coming around the corner, and we got a parade and trick-or-treating to talk about.
Yeah, so trick-or-treat is the 29th from 6 to 8. It's a Saturday night. I really like having it on a night where there's no school the next day. I talked to a lot of parents, talked to a lot of teachers, talked to a lot of different people before that decision was made. And I think we're going to kind of keep it that way if we can do it on a Friday or Saturday when there's no school the next day, because it's really about the kids, right? And if they can have a good time and, chow down some candy and maybe get a sugar high and not have to worry about going to school the next morning, I think that's a good thing. So if you have a different opinion, let me know. But I think that's kind of how I'm going to roll with it while I'm still doing this. So, and then obviously the Halloween parade is on Halloween this year since it's a Monday night. 6:30, I believe it starts, which always a good draw. I ran out of candy last year. The year before, though, it was the drive-through one.
Right.
And I was up on the levee passing out candy for like hours, it seemed. It was supposed to get done at like 5, and like 6:30 I'm still passing out bags of candy. I think my legs are still sore from that day. But really great tradition in Clinton.
Yes.
Always a good draw. So we're really excited to have that as well. And the folks that put that together,
Yeah, I think it's been around for over 50 years, the Mardi Gras parade.
Yeah,
it's just incredible. Yeah, that is.
We have some really good traditions like that in Clinton. The parade, Safety Town's been around for about the same amount of years. Different things like that. It's just nice that we have volunteers and people that still want to put their time in to make things like that happen, because that's really what it boils down to. The Halloween parade folks they're volunteers, and they do this because they love doing it, and they want to make sure they see this thing around. So kudos to them, and if they're listening, thank you very much for all you do on that, because it's a good thing for us.
Again, visiting with Scott Maddasion and kind of wrapping things up with you, we're going to have you back in on November. It'll be actually November the 10th. So it'll be 2 days after the midterm elections. Do the elections, like the House, the Senate in the state of Iowa, how much of an effect does that have on the city?
I think obviously every election is important, and I encourage people to get out there and understand the candidates and vote, no matter what your thoughts are or your side or whatever you want to say. Learn about them, vote for whoever you feel is going to do best to represent you. I think that's important. The federal government elections, I don't think affect us as much locally here in the short term as it does for a city election or the state election. Obviously, like I said, are all important, but I think the state are a little more important in the sense that they're really governing how the city operates, because when we have the residential and the commercial rollback when it comes to your evaluation. So if you have your house in the city of Clinton, you don't pay taxes on 100% of your value. You pay taxes on more like 47% of your value. So when they're adjusting and changing that number, that changes the money that comes into the city, which changes what projects we can do and infrastructure we can update and things like that. So really, those state elections, I think, really, really hit home, because they're making those types of decisions that directly affect the funding sources and the way the city operates.
You mentioned earlier Senator Cournoyer talking about, helping out with different loans and things like that. How do you actually communicate with the House and State Senate representatives?
I speak with Senator Cournoyer quite often. I bet if it's not once or twice a week, it's at least every other week. We have some sort of coordination where maybe we're on an email chain together, or she shoots me a text, or I text her, or a phone call. So she is awesome. outstanding. Does a really nice job representing her district and her people, and she does really listen too, which is nice. And she'll get back to you and she gets you answers, and that's the same thing with Mary Wolf too. If I reach out to her, she does a wonderful job as well. I know she's kind of coming to the end of her time here. She's decided she's gonna kind of hang it up, which thank you to her. I think is it 8 years or 10 years or
I think probably right around in that area.
Yeah, somewhere like that she's represented this area, and she's always been one too that when there's a vote out at the state capitol, she might call or send an email to myself and the county or whatever and say, hey, I'm going to vote this way and this is why. What do you think for the city or the county? And then, sometimes she may change based on our opinion, or she may say, hey, I think this is a better route. We're going to go that way, which that's what you want in your representative. So I think we've been blessed with good representatives. We have some nice people on the ticket right now. No matter what, I think we're going to be in good hands. It just matters who comes out on top. So
now when do you actually, the city, when do they go out to Des Moines?
Usually in the March timeframe.
Okay.
We have like a Grow Clinton Day is what we call it. We have a coalition of, I know the chamber's now Grow Clinton, but we have a coalition called Grow Clinton that includes Dubuque and Comanche and all those other areas, and we kind of go out as a group. We do that one time per year. I haven't actually been out to Des Moines this year other than that, so probably we should make more of a point to do that. But we did get out to D.C. I think it was twice this year I've been out to D.C. to advocate for different things too. So it takes a little bit of time, but I think those are important things to the state representatives are a little easier to get a hold of than your federal ones. So you don't necessarily have to go to Des Moines to see them because they're usually back in the area.
Really appreciate you coming in on FYI. It's a program that Dave Vickers started and I think is very important. I believe a lot of people do listen into it. Next Thursday, we're going to have Gary DeLacy, and of course, the superintendent of schools. We get him once a month like we do you. And then in 2 weeks, Andy Sokolovich is going to be in from Grow Clinton, and he's always got some interesting things to talk about. I want to hear what he has to say about, is it SLA, that project? I want to see what's that all about. I don't know how much he'll be able to reveal, but we'll find out exactly a little bit more about it.
We're working hard on that project to try to get that to come to fruition, because that would be enormous for our community.
No doubt about it. Any closing thoughts before we let you go, Mayor? And again, congratulations on the newborn.
Thanks. I just want to say that our Tailgate and Tall Boys Festival that's coming next summer, I don't have a hard date, but you're going to see tickets going on sale in the next and artist announcements in the next couple weeks. We have every slot filled on the artists except for one slot, and we're working on that one slot. So it's really coming together well, and I think it's going to be exciting. So stay tuned for that. You'll see a blast out on social media when those things go on sale.
Okay, well, keep us posted as well, and you'll certainly know more when you come in on November 10th, I would think.
I think we'll have the announcement of artists before that date. I hope.
Very good.
Crossing my fingers.
All right, well, let us know. Thanks so much.
From Westwood One with a preview of NFL Primetime on